sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right. Ready to go deep on Kobe's legacy.
Absolutely. Always fascinated by his story.
This time, we're going beyond, like, just the basketball stuff, you know?
Yeah, going deeper, the human impact.
Exactly. We're using this People magazine article. It talks about a new CNN documentary series, Kobe, The Making of a Legend.
Oh, interesting. I haven't seen that yet. Sounds like they're trying to get to the core of who he was beyond the court.
Totally. And they do it by talking to people who were close to him, getting their reactions to his death. And man, some of these are powerful.
I bet. It was such a shock to everyone.
No kidding. Like,
Yeah.
right off the bat, Kobe's former assistant, Elissa Grabow, she said, "I think the world actually stood still for a moment."
Wow. Just stop. That's heavy. You can just feel the weight of that statement, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those quotes that just kind of hits you in the chest. And then she calls Tracy McGrady,
Right.
another former NBA player, really close to Kobe.
McGrady, yeah. They had some epic battles on the court.
Intense rivalry. But his reaction is just raw, you know? He said, "I cried all day, all night. I couldn't believe it. Not Cobb, not Kobe." Like, the way he says it, it's just heartbreaking.
It's a reminder that behind those rivalries, there's a lot of mutual respect. They pushed each other to be better. Losing someone like that, someone who really knows you, understands the pressures you face, that's a different kind of loss.
Definitely. And it makes you think about the different layers to any relationship, especially when you're talking about professional athletes competing at that level.
It's a unique world, for sure.
So, article also talks about Scoop Jackson, you know, the sports journalist.
Yeah.
And man, the way he describes telling his kids about Kobe's death.
Oh, yeah, I read that part. Really got to me.
He said, "Kobe had a very, very, very special relationship with my kids. The thing that got me, that was hardest for me, was telling them, yeah, I've done some hard sides in my life, but that was one of the most difficult ones." It's like, Kobe's impact wasn't limited to the people who knew him personally, you know? It's those kids, those fans who grew up watching him, idolizing him. It hit them hard, too.
Absolutely. And their parents. Having to explain that to a child, it's rough.
And the article also mentions Sheryl Swoopes, the WNBA star, right?
Yeah, former MVP, a legend in her own right. And she didn't even know Kobe personally, but her first thought was about Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's wife.
I remember that. She was thinking about the pain of losing a child.
And it's true, you know, when something like this happens, it makes you think about your own family, your own loved ones, like that kind of loss.
Just puts everything into perspective, makes you realize how fragile life is.
Totally. And then there's Gary Viatti. You know, he was the head of athletics for the Lakers for years.
Yeah, he was there for so many of Kobe's biggest moments.
And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, "I was never supposed to outlive Kobe Bryant. That wasn't the plan."
Oh, well. It's like, you know, we talk about legends never dying, but Kobe was human. He was mortal. And that makes his achievements even more significant, but also, you know, so much more tragic.
It's true. It forces us to confront the reality that even our heroes are human and their time with us is precious. You know, I think we often forget that.
And then you see those fan reactions in the documentary, and it's just...
A raw emotion, right?
Yeah, like, this wasn't just another celebrity passing. One fan in downtown LA said, "This just feels so personal."
That's it. Personal. I think a lot of people felt like they knew him. Not personally, of course, but through his games, his interviews, his public persona, he had this way of connecting with people. And it's interesting how he created that connection, you know. Years of watching him play, seeing that dedication to the game. He called it Mamba mentality.
Oh, yeah, Mamba mentality. That was his thing.
And it wasn't just a slogan. It was about that constant drive, you know, to improve, to be the best.
It's easy to forget, with all the emotions and tributes, that at the core of this was a basketball player who achieved incredible things.
Yeah, 5 NBA championships with the Lakers, 20-year career. The accolades go on and on.
Like legendary stuff, right?
Absolutely. And each win, each achievement, it was like another example of that Mamba mentality in action. That's what his fans connected with, that relentless pursuit of greatness.
It's inspiring, honestly. Makes you want to, I don't know, go for a run or something, push yourself a little harder.
Right. And the documentary does a great job of weaving those achievements into the narrative alongside the emotional stuff. It would have been easy to just focus on the highlights.
Yeah, just another sports documentary.
Exactly. But by showing the vulnerability, the grief of those who knew him, it becomes something much more powerful, more human.
Makes you realize he was so much more than just a basketball star.
Definitely. And it makes his story relatable. You know, he wasn't just this untouchable icon. He was a real person, flaws and all. And I think that's why his death hit people so hard.
Speaking of flaws, we can't talk about Kobe without addressing,
Yeah, the 2003 allegations.
right, the sexual assault allegations. It's a part of his story, and the documentary doesn't shy away from it.
It acknowledges the allegations, the impact they had on his career, his life. It even goes into how it continues to be part of his legacy, raises questions about how we deal with that, admiring someone while also acknowledging their mistakes.
It's tough, right? It's a reminder that even our heroes are complex. They're human beings. And how we choose to see them, to reconcile those contradictions, it's a personal thing.
Absolutely. It's not about condoning or condemning. It's about recognizing the whole person, the good and the bad. And it's not always easy.
This is getting pretty deep.
Well, that's kind of the point of these deep dives, right? We explore the nuances, the things that make us think.
That's what we're here for. And this documentary does that, It doesn't shy away from the tough stuff. It forces us to look at the full picture.
The triumphs, the controversies, the whole Kobe Bryant.
So what does it all mean? What's the takeaway from this deep dive into Kobe?
I think it challenges us to think about how we define success, how we define legacy. It's not just about the trophies and the wins. It's about the impact we have on others, the connections we make.
That's a good way to put it. It's about who we are as human beings. You know what's interesting? This documentary, it celebrates Kobe's life, but also makes you really think about his death.
Yeah, it's powerful that way. Reminds us that even with tragedy, there's still so much we can learn about, what it means to be human.
And for Kobe, it's that passion, that drive to be the best, the impact he had.
And not just on the court.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His Mamba mentality, it wasn't just for athletes.
It resonated with everyone, entrepreneurs, artists, just regular people trying to improve.
It's like he gave everyone permission to push themselves, to go for it.
Yeah, he transcended sports.
Yeah.
Became this symbol of dedication, perseverance, breaking through limits. Talent and hard work, he showed what that could achieve.
It's like his legacy is still, growing, Years after he's gone, people are still finding inspiration in his story, his words.
I think that's what makes a true icon, someone who impacts the world even after they're gone. And it's not just about winning, it's about those values, those lessons, how they made us feel.
It's like he left us with a blueprint, how to live a life full of purpose. Basketball fan or not, there's something in his story for everyone.
Absolutely. And I think that's what this documentary does so well, captures that. It's not just about sports, it's about the human spirit, resilience, finding meaning, even when things are tough.
So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this whole conversation about Kobe?
I think it goes back to those personal stories, those moments of grief, of admiration, how those change how we see Kobe, not just as a basketball star, but as a person, and how that makes us think differently about success, about legacy, about the kind of impact we want to have on the world.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what